Based on the story of Liza P., you wouldn't be wrong for feeling like the world is painted in strokes of black and white instead of the shades of gray that tell the whole story. After doing some digging, I've discovered that not only do the tragic tales of this world hold a ton of hidden secrets and compelling history, but their stories are easy to overlook if you're not pursuing them in depth. Villain or hero, good or evil, I'll leave that for you to decide. But this is the tragic truth of the Corday sisters. While we can't verify for sure, it's reasonable to assume that the Corday sisters grew up in one of Crot's old houses that afforded them the opportunity to develop their operatic talents. In their adulthood, the sisters would make good on these opportunities by showcasing their incredible talents on stage in the famous entertainment district in Rosa Isabel Street. While it seems they were both touted as having beautiful and angelic voices, Patricia was the more talented of the two in terms of singing alone. Later in the game, we meet a test subject of the alchemist who can read the memories of Ergo that remembers Patricia like this.
I used to be a fan of the actress Patricia. Not the red actress Adelina, but her sister. Patricia had an angelic voice like her sister. If she'd become famous, they would have called her the White Goddess. The memories people had of her songs. You should have heard her voice in her prime. Something transcendent like that. It makes you feel alive.
With Patricia seemingly the standout of the two sisters in terms of singing alone, it is perhaps all the more tragic that her career in singing would have an unfortunate and abrupt end.
But her career was cut short. She took poison and ruined her throat.
With Patricia unable to continue her dream of being a singer, she pursued placement in another organization where she could make a living by becoming a stalker. It's reasonable to think that Patricia was part of the Bastards, based on the strongly insinuated connection to Crot's old families, her garb being fashionable like other Bastards when compared to stalkers from the Sweepers, and perhaps most telling is the motto of the Bastards, information that can be obtained by inquiring with Polendina at Hotel Crot.
The Bastards are an organization of guards for the alchemists and the workshop. Motto: honor or nothing.
Honor or nothing. A sentiment that would soon see Patricia dedicating her life to honoring a fallen sister with violence and blood. In fact, when we first meet Patricia in-game, not only is she hostile to our presence, but her stage and auditorium are decorated with the broken bodies of various nearby puppets that can be found wandering the surrounding area.
Would you like to sing for me like your friends? I have a feeling the sound of your cries will be especially sweet.
Despite this being the location where we meet her for the first time, Patricia makes it extremely clear that we're meant for trouble the moment we enter her theater in search of the King of Puppets. Leaping from the rafters with explosive power and crashing through her macabre lure in dramatic fashion, she draws her sword without even a faint interest in exchange before beginning her assault. The question of why is answered quickly thereafter, as she deems her ready assault against us as an homage of sorts.
I dedicate this performance to my sister Adelina!
Fighting with a savagery and aggression that indicate the pain and loss we have not yet been provided the details of, she takes an almost jovial delight in inflicting her damage.
Scream a requiem for me, if you would!
In addition to her outpouring of elation, she also echoes her sister's memory as drive in combat, and enacting vengeance against the puppets who killed her as her motivation behind it.
You stole my sister from me, rotten puppets!
Proving herself a skilled and able opponent, she uses a mixture of speed and elegance in her attack that seems fitting for a stalker that used to specialize as an entertainer. Talented as she is, she still eventually falls in combat, leaving us with her mask and locket before departing with a final whispering call to her sister.
The same red attire as your sister. As promised, we always match.
When we look at her locket, the text within reads, "To stand always on the stage of our dreams together. Your loving sister, Adelina." Left with little insight as to how Patricia found herself here, we find the details of this tragic tale only a short ways ahead of us. As the petrification disease was ravaging Crot, it could be argued that the entertainment provided by Rosa Isabel Street may have been more important than ever. Unfortunately, this once bustling playground would now be inextricably linked to one of the most tragic tales in Kratz history. Rocked by savage violence in an event that would eventually come to be known as the Puppet Frenzy, Rosa Isabel Street became the epicenter of loss and pain on a scale never before seen. In a massacre that saw puppets of every stripe lashing out and killing Kratz citizens, the Corday sisters would find themselves in the beautiful and familiar territory of Kratz Entertainment District, but with Patricia being the only one equipped to deal with the threat. Unable to locate her sister, and with no other survivors reported from the massacre, Patricia assumed that her sister Adelina had fallen to the murderous puppets. Overcome with rage and sadness, Patricia would then go on a rampage of her own in an effort to maintain her honor, destroying as many puppets as she could before displaying their bodies around a stage as a continual homage to her sister, the Red actress Adelina. If only Patricia had taken more time to explore the full length of Rosa Isabel Street, she would have eventually made her way to the Estelle Opera House, where her sister was set to give her last performance in a widely advertised show. While the show itself is now on an indefinite hiatus, Adelina was actually spared in the massive puppet attack on Rosa Isabel Street itself. There, in the gilded and ornate grandeur of the Estelle Opera House, one of Kratz's many secrets can be found. If you have a bright red apple in your possession, you'll actually be able to open the door of this small room to find none other than the Red actress Adelina Corday herself. While she can be heard softly singing the same tune being blared across Rosa Isabel's streets, she is quick to react to your presence with the dire circumstances in which you find her.
Are you here to listen to my music? I can't sing anymore. This petrification disease took away my songs.
If you offer the bright red apple to Adelina as a balm for the disease sapping her of her strength, she is invigorated enough to make a small request of you.
I can't stop death from taking me, but I have enough strength to confess my sins. Can you listen to my last confession?
When you oblige, her confession will provide some rather startling context as to why Patricia lost her voice in the first place.
Patricia, I coveted your voice. If I can't match it, then even if I have to break you, Adelina Corday must have it all. I know it's wrong, but still, I love you.
With the truth revealed, we're left with little choice other than moving forward to defeat the King of Puppets on the Opera House's main stage. However, after emerging victorious, you can return to this room to find that the relief provided by your decadent fruit only afforded Adelina a temporary reprieve from the ravages of the petrification disease. Finally succumbing to the lethal influence of the disease, you can collect some nearby items from her as well, granting you a locket to match the one previously collected from Patricia. Though they appear identical in their inscription, it's impossible to know for sure, as the image and text within Adelina's locket has been damaged from what appears to be multiple stab wounds, perhaps our only remaining clue as to Adelina's original disdain for her sister's talent. We also receive a new record called Fascination, which is a soft and sweeping song that does a good job of capturing the sadness of Rosa Isabel Street. Later in the game, after gaining access to Test Subject 826's wares, we can also collect its golden version, which also happens to be the song that is playing for much of the time we navigate through Rosa Isabel Street. While the song itself is in French, a translated snippet from the song by Reddit user Quintillis36 reads, "I simply met you, and you did nothing to please me, yet I have a burning love for you, so nothing, I feel it, could defeat it, you'll always be my lover." A song laid to vinyl by the Red actress Adelina about a lover that wanted to build her a home that she would never get to see. This reference certainly adds another layer to Adelina's story, but I won't go into it in detail here. But leave a comment, let me know if you want me to follow up on the ties that the Red actress has to the stalker known as the Owl Doctor. There's certainly some interesting and compelling history to go through there as well. But as we collect all that Adelina has left us, it's hard not to return to the notion of black and white. On one hand, we have a selfish prima donna so obsessed with her fame and vanity that she poisoned her own kin just to remove her as an obstacle. On the other, a stalker that fought with anger and vengeance until her dying breath just to honor the very person responsible for her downfall some long time ago. Both of them only a stone's throw away from one another, both of them ultimately dying alone, and both seemingly overcome with regret and sadness for the other, though for very different reasons. While not all tales in Krot are this tragic, I've done my very best to bring you the truth as far as I can tell it, and hopefully you found a closer look at this story to be as interesting and compelling as I did. It should be noted that much of this narrative comes from the environmental storytelling and interactions that can be found in the game, but it's possible there are things in the world that I missed that add more to this tale. If you happen to come across anything I missed that you think should be included, feel free to leave any additional points or insights in the comments, and if I come across any worthy additions, I'll make sure to include them in the description as I come across them. With this story now closed behind us, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you found this video enjoyable and informative, as I'd love to be able to take the time to explore more of these hidden stories in the future. These videos are generally a lot more difficult to make as they require a lot of time and research to complete, but I'd love to dive deeper into this world if people are expressing an interest. And with that, I feel my job here is done for the day, and until I see you next time, party on.